Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and it's time to rant because I've had about enough of this in Marvel Future Fight, and I think it's high time that we demand an answer from the developers, from the devs, in a dev note. And it has nothing to do with Moon Knight. What I'm actually talking about has to do with mutants and Thor: Love and Thunder and the general decline, the catastrophic cliff dive of new character releases in Marvel Future Fight. Now, I know you've heard this rant before, but give me one more chance here to really hook you in, because this is serious and it relates to Thor: Love and Thunder. You're probably thinking to yourself, Alex, how does Thor: Love and Thunder relate to mutants in Marvel Future Fight? Well, the big worry, the big question, the number one concern for the Thor: Love and Thunder update is what? Gore. Whether he's going to be a playable character or not. And that in and of itself just represents, it's just a microcosm representing the macro problem that we've had since like last year. We're going on like 8 months now that we've seen basically one character released. Ever since the Eternals update, we've had one single character released. And I don't mean to make a big deal out of her, because it's unfortunate that she was the one chosen for the last character, maybe the last character ever, but it's Echo, right? We literally have not gotten a character the entire year. Echo's the only character, and clearly she was meant to be released during another update in October, when we got the Enter the Phoenix uniforms for Wolverine, Hyperion, and Captain America. But the devs wanted to do that, but Marvel was clearly like, no. Echo's gonna be in the Hawkeye show. Wait. Right? This is a whole other issue, but it's not nearly as important. So technically, like it's been like 7 months, bro, without a single new character. And listen, I'm not trying to rag on the content that they are making. Like, the game is still doing quite well. If you were to tell me, hey Alex, in 2022, they're not going to be any characters released, but the game will still be like, 90% as fun as it's always been, I'd be like, wow, that's crazy. Really? Are you sure? No new characters, no world bosses, nothing? Like, no new world boss legends that you farm for and stuff like that? Nothing? Wow, that's wild. I wouldn't have believed you. So the devs are still doing a good job on the game overall. This is not an attack on the game overall, but I think it's time for them to address the multiple elephants in the room, because it's like, this game is known for having a huge roster. We compare this game to other games, Strike Force, Contest of Champions, whatever you want to call it, and this game always comes out on top because it has more characters. So the devs know this. And for them to go from 10 to 20 characters a year down to one, like, they have to know that it's irritating. They have to know that it's confusing and it's worrying to the player base, and they should honestly say something about the character releases. Like, are they stuck in the pipeline? Is that what's going on? Is there like a buildup of characters in the pipeline, and then once everyone gets back to work, it's just gonna burst, and we're gonna be getting like 3-4 characters per update? Like, we need to know this kind of stuff, right? We need to know in some sort of way, because yeah, 249 characters is a lot, yes, but on the flip side, one character in 8 months is hilariously little. And so how does this relate? Okay, so we know about Gore. If Gore is not a playable character, honestly, the Thor: Love and Thunder update might be an L. I don't want to be doom and gloom, but that's honestly what people have already started telling me, and I kind of tend to agree. I'm still gonna love Thor no matter what, and Jane Foster too, but I will be personally, some part of me will die / be disappointed if they skip Gore. And so Gore just represents this same issue, but it's being magnified for mutants. Not only have mutants been taking like consecutive L's, right? Like, name one mutant that's in the meta. Go ahead. No, seriously, please, come on. I'm waiting. Yeah, you can't. There's none. Wolverine got replaced by Moon Knight. Jean Grey only exists in the minds of players on Reddit who haven't actually played the game since 2018, right? Like, literally. Emma Frost in PvP? Yeah, okay, sure. Rogue in squad battle? Sure, yeah. It's like, the list is extremely short, and it might be getting shorter for all we know. So the list is super short of mutants that are actually meta, and like, when bro, when are mutants gonna get their due? And not only for existing mutants, like, there's so many mutants that have just been in the slums, right? Like, Apocalypse Apocalypse was replaced by Kingpin, right? But Apocalypse's uniform, Kingpin's uniform was at the end of 2021. Apocalypse's uniform is from 2019. Even the good mutants are hilariously overdue for a uniform, right? So he got a uniform that's cosmetic. That's where we're at with mutants. They get cosmetic upgrades, right? He gets his baldness showcased, and that's considered an upgrade. So listen, I don't really have to tell you how down horrendous mutants are these days, but let me just go through a really quick list. Okay, I'm gonna rapid fire 20 names at you, starting with Gore. After Gore, we have Omega Red, Polaris, Havoc, Hercules, Jamie Braddock, Onslaught, Blob, Toad, Wonderman, Longshot, Black Knight, Sunspot, Richter, Warlock, Man-Thing, Sasquatch, Moondragon, Pyro, Vulcan. Now, I wrote those names down. I didn't memorize them. But what do those names have in common? Those names have 3 things in common. They're not in Marvel Future Fight. Most of them are in other Marvel games. That's the big one. They're in other Marvel games, whether it's Contest of Champions or Strike Force or both. I don't consider Puzzle Quest a Marvel game. Sorry. And then what's the third thing they have in common? They're not in Marvel Future Fight. So there's at least 20 characters, and I came up with this list in like 10 minutes or less. There's at least 20 really good characters, 15 of which are very like bankable. They're very recognizable. There's a couple in there that are like, but at least 15 of them are very recognizable, and they're not in the game. And they're in other games, right? They're in other games, so it makes no sense. I think Wonder Man's the only one who's not in any game. So, and maybe Richter, and Onslaught, and JB Braddock. Okay, there's a few, but still, it's crazy to me. Like Omega Red was released like 2 years ago or 3 years ago in Contest of Champions. Anyways, this is really what I'm saying, right? It's a combination of things, but the mutants have been hit the hardest, right? And what makes little sense is that the devs decided way back in 2016 that they were going to separate mutants from regular characters, right? Because regular characters, you build them up with Black Antimatter and Chaos Nornstones, sure. Mutants, we have to build them up with mutant materials. That's all cool, right? They, instead of having the stars, they have the little X's. Like, it's all very thematic. Obviously, it's just a marketing thing, so they can sell us more of the same materials. I get that, don't worry. It's literally the same thing they did 4 years later with Awakening materials and Mandalays versus CCF, right? They literally did the same thing. However, they're not taking care of mutants. Like, you guys made that distinction between mutants and non-mutants, and then you just left the mutants to die. To call these mutants redhead, stepchild, orphans is not an exaggeration. No offense to redheads, it's just the stereotype. It's a joke, it's a meme. But seriously, they're terrible. They're garbage. And when we got the She-Hulk update for the She-Hulk, the Disney Plus show, we got the Kamala Khan, the Miss Marvel show that we're gonna get an update for. We've got Black Panther 2, which hopefully includes an upgrade for one mutant, Namor, right? But we have very few. There's no mutant movies or TV shows on the horizon, right? They're way back there. They're way back there. 2-3 years down the pipeline, and I find it very hard to believe that that's what the devs are waiting for. That Marvel has been like, hey guys, stop introducing mutants into your games and wait, because we're going to be pumping out the mutant content in 2025 and 2026, and that's when we want you to capitalize on it. Bruh, there's no way. There's just no way. Because I can't remember the last time a mutant was added to either Strike Force. Like, no, Strike Force just added Gambit. There's no way. That can't be the case. So it's really a problem that is specific to Marvel Future Fight, which makes me more upset because I think the devs owe us an answer. They don't owe us the full answer, right? Like, obviously, it's a business. They have to keep a lot of things, closed behind the scenes, whatever, shareholders, blah, 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 stock price. But we need something here, right? It's one of the cornerstones of the game. If they were going to overhaul the graphic system for the game, that's a cornerstone of the game. If they were going to overhaul the joystick and skill wheel orientation and how it works and where it is, that's a cornerstone of the game. The characters are a cornerstone of the game, and the fact that this is the largest roster of any Marvel game is a cornerstone of the game. For you to take that cornerstone away and not tell us why, or give us any explanation, or give us any like TBA, right? TBD, like when is it coming back? Is it ever coming back? You know, like what's the plan here, guys? It's frustrating, and I've made videos about this, and I've mentioned it in different videos, but I really think that this, like, my tipping point for this is gore. If we don't see gore in the update, then we really need an answer ASAP, because I think a lot of players are going to be scared and worried about the future of the game, given the complete abandonment of new characters, right? And again, I'm not commenting on like, well, you know, no new characters is good because I can stockpile my resources. I'm not commenting on that. I'm not saying they should just be throwing characters at us that are boring and unimaginative. That's not what I'm saying. We don't need like tons of new characters, but you know, one character a month doesn't seem like a crazy thing to ask for. And that's only 12 characters a year, right? And last year we only got 11, and most of those were Eternals. Right? So, you know, it's a little strange. It's a little strange. So yeah, I really hope this video gets through to somebody at Netmarble and they release some kind of dev note letting us know. They should probably package it with a dev note about World Boss Legend and like how that's gone, how that's sort of been received by the fan base, and maybe the new Dormammu GBR, and talk about some of the bugs in that and stuff like that. But I do genuinely think that they need to give us an update on this, because like, okay, fine, tier 4 is out, not every character is going to get tier 3 or Transcendence. That's cool. That's a hard pill to swallow, but like, we'll accept it, we'll get over it. But just like leaving, I don't even know how many mutants in the game, leaving like 50 characters in the dirt, 50, 60 characters, just leaving them in a ditch to die without any upgrades, never seeing the light of day as far as upgrades, as far as uniforms, as far as anything like that goes. You know, it's pretty shitty. And coupled with that, like this entire row, look at this. Only Iceman has a uniform. Oh, and Magic, because of the paywall, right? On top of that, right? On top of everything else that I've said, Danger Room Extreme. Let me remind you that the Danger Room and Danger Room Extreme game mode was literally made so that they could release new mutant characters, right? And that's where they came up with, that's where they released Negasonic, Rachel, Professor X, and then they got desperate and confused and they released A-Bomb. And then shortly after A-Bomb, they just killed the game mode. That was probably a sign that the game mode wasn't working out when they wouldn't even release a mutant, but that was probably also a sign that something was wrong in the mutant camp, because a few months later they released Dazzler. It made no sense at all. They released A-Bomb as the Danger Room character, and then a few months later they just released Dazzler separately. Obviously, the mutant side of things is being mismanaged for Marvel Future Fight, and I really think they need to address it, and maybe they need to like internally fix it, because there's a lot of revenue on the table they could be making if they just gave the mutants 50% of the love that they're showing other characters. Like, I want to see a Kingpin type of rework, you know, an Elektra type of rework for mutant characters. Like we should be seeing that now and then to keep pace with these other characters. So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Sorry for the 13-minute rant, but it needed to be said, and it needed to be its own standalone thing. So hopefully it gets through to somebody. But yeah, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.